Men Who Chase Geese.
Yep.
That's an episode.
Right.
You did like this episode.
We've been going through a lot of arcs lately.
Yep.
That's it. That's all I got. It's a lot more work.
It's another arc which is kind of based around corruption, kind of not really. It's about
It's called Heroes on Both Sides and Pursuit of Peace. All right, again.
It's the devaluing of the bank system in order to continue to fund the war. And of course, Padme is like, this is unnecessary. We shouldn't, go into debt. We shouldn't trust these banking clans. We don't need to produce more clones. We can just negotiate. All the Separatists aren't that bad. None of them are, truly evil. I've got a friend. So she goes to visit the friend and introduces Ahsoka to this cute little boy and her mentor from Naboo, which is a nice touch. But other than that, it doesn't seem to do much good. Everyone else on that side is like, the Senate is evil. Everyone on the Senate side is the Separatists are evil. And right as they're about to vote for peace, of course, a terrorist attack happens on the base. Screws everything up. Everyone gets all upset. They're like, we need to go into war. We need to give all this money to them and give us a loan so we can make more clones. So Padme gets all upset and she's like, look, basically here's how it is. There are people around you that were basically screwing over. They don't have electricity. They don't have any of these good wares that we have that we're taking for granted or taking as a luxury. So this would be a bad choice.
And what do you give it? What do you give it?
I'd give it a 3 out of 5 and a very confused 2 out of 5 because the fact that the uncle that died in the second season is alive now.
Yeah, I'm not sure how all that works.
Which makes me wonder if this was an arc that they kind of like postponed. They had already filmed, they had already animated, and they were like, no, it's too dark. We can't really like put this into the second season, so they kept it until now.
Okay, well, we'll see.
But it was good. It showed it showed both sides. It showed that the Separatists weren't, just true droids and Genosians. There were actual other humans, and that they had their reasons to despise the Senate. But nothing was accomplished.
Okay. But anyway, okay. That's fair enough. All right, so I did more than he did. So I tend to like the shows that try to show things that I think that are important, because I think this whole series, it tries to show you about war, and it tries to show it in many different aspects. So, they try to greenlight secret negotiations because the official Senate is that, well, we don't want to talk to them because because that's because both sides have become so hardened with each other and they don't really want to talk to each other, and that's kind of the mentality that goes into it. And you have to have a voice that says, oh, we get to talk. Because we're running into massive debt. We have no money. And so they springboard these secret negotiations, which even later on you hear Anakin say it was too far because they crossed a line, which they kind of did. They broke a law. Not that they did break a law. They were talking to the enemy. That's what it amounts to. And it was interesting because, for the first time, for Ahsoka's sake, she's never really seen a Separatist. They all think that
one
the enemy,
that she doesn't immediately kill.
That the enemy, well, the only Separatists she's ever known are basically the bots, right?
And Dooku. And all
the bad guys. But she doesn't know the people, and this is about knowing the people. And she realized, the people aren't terrible. They know, and obviously they were all part of the same group. Not a few years before the war started. So it's not that they're different. So they are having the same problem. Escalation of the war, bankruptcy, all these issues, the same issues of the war. So later on, when they let's have these negotiations, let's try it. They also show how easy it is when you have two conflicted sides, how easy it is to get them off track very quickly. So just by making a simple bombing, which is what they did, which or just one little thing, even if it really took no lives or a few lives, that derails the whole process because both sides are so conflicted that it's easy now.
A little bit of friction just ignites the whole
even though you would think, obviously we have so much at stake, not just a few lives, but millions of lives are at stake. So maybe it's worth it, even if there's a problem, to try to find a way through it because the stakes are so big, they're so high. I'm sorry for this light I had behind me. I didn't know they had it on. I should turn it off. I don't want to get up. So anyway, it's fine. I look like a part of a neat thing. Yeah, well, it's kind of a thing. Anyway, so I like that, and I like the fact that they talk about, that Padme talks about the handmaid, but she tells us, listen, We've had to cut social services. We've had to cut we've had to cut all these things that are part of the government. You're screwing your own people. The people have nothing. And then she talks about, her handmaid, who they bathe once every 2 weeks. The kids don't have lighted, basic stuff they don't have. They're suffering. And she's the handmaiden for the freaking senator. They have very little. And they're going to have less because now, and of course they'll talk about deregulation of the banking, which was an issue of the time when this was being made. So it's very topical. But yeah, it's just trying to show how the greed of the banks, but also how these sides get trapped and who suffers, and that is the people. And they're willing to go overboard almost to put themselves into massive debt in order to finance a war to do what? I mean, what was the purpose? To make their lives better, but their lives are going to be worse because they're going to be there's no money now for their lives. What are they supposed to do? So I liked it a lot more than he did. I gave it a 4 out of 5. The problem I had with it, if I had a problem, is that I just thought that was ridiculous. One, these are senators. They have bodyguards. They have security. To pretend that just any two thugs literally off the street can just roll in there, and they were saying one time he bragged about, I beat up 20 senators today, or whatever, 20 senators. That could never happen. Can you imagine? Yeah, that would have the 20. That would never happen.
Everyone around the D.C. area just walks into an alley and gets beaten up.
Well, but the thing is, they have security, and the security not just with them, but the security without the whole area. So to pretend that you're just going to walk around and
into a parking
these
garage
guys are
full
just gonna,
of senators'
yeah,
cars.
yeah, and you're just gonna, I'm just gonna beat just any two idiots off the street, and I'm just gonna, that's I found that kind of silly. I just, ridiculously silly, quite frankly. But I can understand them saying, okay, if they had made, I think they just wanted to get away from, I think they had overused the assassin angle, maybe too much, which in my opinion they always do, and that they wanted to, which would have been more accurate, a long-range sniper type deal. I think they already did that. They actually had already done that episode, quite frankly, when they did Assassin, when when you had Orsing come in with try to use a long-range weapon to try to kill us, which would make more sense of how it would be done. So I like that I think they just said, well, if we did it again, we're just redoing what we did earlier on the same disc, for Christ's sake. Just a few episodes before. So I think that's why they did it, but I think it makes no sense at all. But anyway, that's why I give it a 4 out of 5, not a 5 out of 5. But I like the fact that it is trying to show all these issues of war, the budget problems, and everything. It's a low-intensity show, these arc, but it had a lot to show about the problems of two conflicting sides have trying to make peace, as well as how they're destroying their societies and who really suffers as they're doing it. So anyway, so there you go. So I give it a 4 out of 5. And there we are. He gives it a 3 out of 5, I think you said?
Yep.
And there we go. So there we are. So that's how it is today. Next week, or next time, it will be Night Sisters. Ooh, scary. All right. Well, goodbye.
I did like this episode.
I don't know.